case you didn't know, me and Ralph got a TV show. Somebody let us play with some cameras and a whole studio. If you guys want to find out where you can check our show at, go check out the Rim Pro page or our Facebook page, or you can go to our website. Make sure you watch. Okay, right now I'm sitting here with a stand-up comic. He's fairly new to the game, but from what I've heard, he's been doing pretty good. Mr. Steve Krieger. What's going on, buddy?
Not too much, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Yeah. So you are fairly new. You just started out, you said, in November of 2011.
Yes.
At the end, said like the 27th?
27th, yeah.
Okay, and that was where?
At Newport Funny Bone.
Funny Bone. How was that for the first time?
It was fun. I had no idea that other places did open mics, so I thought that was the place to go to try comedy. So when I went there, after I did my set, I had like 3 people come to me, hey, we do an open mic here at this night, we do an open mic here at this night. It was great. I started networking right away.
Yeah, that's see, the first time I did it was at Go Bananas.
Oh, okay. And
that was like, you know, for me, like, of never doing it at all, and then like, you know, there's 150 people in there, and I got a really good response my first time. Did you do?
Oh, I got laughs.
Yeah, I did really, really well, and I was really surprised. That's a good ego boost, but it can kind of be a bad thing too, because I've seen guys that have done like open mic contests and stuff, and they win, and they think they're like the greatest comic ever, and then they come and do a bar show, which is really, that's, you know,
that's where you cut your teeth.
That's where you find out how funny you really are, you know. And I've seen guys win these little contests in front of people that came to laugh, but then when you're there doing a show in front of a bunch of drunk hillbillies, you know what I mean? Then all of a sudden, you're not that funny, you know. And I've seen guys eat it millions of times like that. Have you had that experience yet, where you go in there?
Yeah. I right after I got started, Ali Budoso had a open mic at Duck Creek. Or not Duck Creek, that's Vincent Galino's.
Old
Fort Pub. And yeah, I bit it there a couple times. Just no one there to laugh and rambling off what I thought was good material.
Yeah, see, I've done I did a couple shows there, and they went fairly well. It's rough when you first get started. Like the first year, like I was telling you before we started taping, you know, that first year is always fun. Even if you blow on stage, it's like, you know, you still have a good time doing it. And once you get past that, man, it gets a little bit rougher. You start seeing how good you are, then your writing comes out. Because you can tell the same jokes for a year. Most jokes have a shelf life, you know what I mean? So it's like, once you get past that, then your writing has to develop. That's when you actually find out how good you really are. Yeah. So you're going to have fun with that.
Yeah, I'm already having a blast writing stuff right now, so we'll see where it goes from here.
So you've done Go Bananas, Funny Bone, up at Tickets.
Yes.
Which, yeah, Tickets is a fun place to do a show.
Yeah, I like that venue a lot.
Yeah, who all have you worked with so far?
I've worked with Jay Armstrong, Rob Wilfong, Brian Million, Kim Sherwood, Mark Sester, a couple guys coming up with me like John Bernard. I've worked with him.
John's fun. He's been on here.
Okay, yeah, John's a good guy. But yeah, those are the majority of guys. Homer Shadowheart, done a couple shows with him.
Yeah. I know everybody you just mentioned. I've worked with all of them. They're all really good comics.
Yeah,
so,
most of the Northern Kentucky guys, great people.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Hopefully we'll get to work together here soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, you got a bunch of stuff coming up, so yeah, we'll be giving you a call. You're doing some stuff on Facebook now, too. Yeah,
just started a movie review site with one of my friends called Steve and Steve. Look us up. But yeah, we're trying to find like the worst movies in theaters and do a review for them. We went and saw Wrath of the Titans this last weekend, hoping it would be awful, and it actually was pretty good, so we're not doing a review for it.
So, like, how much of your real life do you put into your comedy?
A lot of it now. When I first started, I wanted to be like a nerd comic. I wanted to be like Patton Oswalt and just kind of throw those kind of random references in. But it started getting really hard to write those, and I wasn't getting responses because it's like, oh, if you haven't seen Battlestar Galactica, you don't know
you're
why
not going to get
funny.
this. Yeah.
So then I started telling stories from like jobs I used to had and ex-girlfriends and things like that, and started getting great responses. So now I'm just pulling from old family stories and just funny stuff that's happened in college and throughout all that stuff.
Yeah, see, that's like me. I have biracial kids, so I have tons of jokes.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Got a gold mine there.
Yeah, it just works great. It's yeah, a lot of people, when you get too smart for some people, some jokes, because I've had jokes like, because I was a guy that like borderline being a geek and a jock, so like I could combine all kinds of stuff. The jock stuff goes over really good, but when I start doing too much nerdy stuff, it's like, you know, people don't. Yeah.
Like the first joke I ever told at Funny Bone was I was really nervous because we had to do a PG-13 set, and or no, I'm sorry, it had to be PG clean set, PG clean. And I was like, and Temple of Doom was PG, and they ripped a man's heart out and beat children, so I don't know where the line is.
That's great. Great movie too.
Yeah.
You have, when you're doing PG clean stuff, which is really hard for me. Like even on here, it's hard for me to walk that. So doing comedy, is this something you want to do as a job, or is this just a hobby right now? Or
right now, it's just a hobby. I really want to be a police officer. I went to college for it, and I'm actually in the hiring process with a couple cities, so I'm hoping to get on somewhere. And then I'm looking to maybe be like the funniest comic in that area. Like I don't want to travel and tour. I just want to do this as my, my way to let off steam.
Okay. So you obviously are not going to be my connect to get any dope anytime soon.
No. I mean, I might know people.
Okay. You got a key to the room, Kidding. Mostly. So, I mean, but if it does turn into something else, I mean.
Oh, I would not complain whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, would be the greatest job ever. To do
yeah.
comedy.
I mean, I studied for 4 years for criminal justice at college, and I just started doing comedy in November and realizing how much I like it. So I would not be opposed to switching.
Yeah.
It's hard to change that mindset of.
Yeah, what you really want to do. Yeah.
Like I want to be stuck down in one city fighting crime. Now it's like I want to travel the country and tell jokes. It's two completely different things.
See, I wanted to fight crime too, but I wanted like the suit and the mask.
Yeah,
and
the belt and the grappling hook.
Yeah, like all that shit. Like, actually, I wanted to play football, but then, I realized I was white and had no athletic talent, so, that kind of went straight down the tubes. I actually played football at Woodward, and that's what let me know that I completely sucked, because I was the only white guy on the team, and it was very evident that I had no talent.
Been there.
Yeah. Now, like you said, if it does work, cool. If it doesn't, cop thing. Was there any other facet of like the entertainment that you want to do? Like, did you ever want to try any acting or anything? Because you got like the
when I was a kid, I did a lot of acting.
Really?
My sister spent 4 years in New York trying to make it on Broadway. She went to school for performing arts.
Oh, that's cool.
She's got most of the talent in the family. But yeah, so I tried acting for a while. I was in a band in college. I was trying to play music.
Okay. How'd that go?
It was all right. I mean, I had fun with it. It's hard to keep a band of high school kids together.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I sang and played harmonica. So, I mean, I can go to just about any band, but not many bands want a harmonica player.
Yeah. Tom Petty now. All right. So, you brought a clip with you, right?
Yeah. It's my most recent set from the Funny Bone.
From Funny Bone on the
Newport,
Levee.
yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and check this clip out, and we'll be right back.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? A good big round of applause for everybody who's come up tonight. So my world got rocked the other day. I found out on the internet that Hulk Hogan has a sex tape that got leaked. I did some research and it turns out, people, this is true. I started watching the video. At first I thought it was fake because he didn't walk into his standard intro music. But then he did rip his tank top in half and he finished with a leg drop, so I knew it was real. So where are my couples at tonight? Good. Where are you guys at? Can't see your lights from there. Oh, awesome. How long have you guys been together? Oh, that's awesome. You guys have a song yet? Consider yourself lucky. My ex-girlfriend came up to me while we were dating and said, I have the perfect song for our relationship. It's Michael Bublé's I Just Haven't Met You Yet. That's basically bad relationship codes where I still haven't deleted my Match.com account. Perfectly fair, I still haven't deleted my Brazzers account. Notice how all the guys left with Match. It's a popular porn site. You guys gone on vacation together yet? Also, consider yourself lucky. One time with my ex, we went on a Carnival cruise ship. First off, when I think of Carnival, I think of fun for the whole family. You know, great music, things for the whole family to do, lots of fun games. No, what you get is fried food, shitty music, and a bunch of fat kids. Carnival really needs to rename all of their boats State Fair Cruise Lines. Like, I don't know if anybody here has ever been trapped on a boat and gone somewhere they didn't want to go to hang out with people they didn't really want to see. On behalf of all white people, I am sorry. The worst part about being on a Carnival cruise ship is if you get blackout drunk, you do things that you might really regret. One night I woke up, sprawled horizontally across the bed in my cabin, wearing nothing but swim trunks and a silver medal for the hairy chest competition. How do I know it was the hairy chest competition? On a Carnival cruise ship, they have one TV in your cabin that has 3 channels. Discovery Channel, Weather Channel, and things that happened on the boat. Apparently after filming the hairy chest competition, they ran out of film. So for 3 whole days, me and my girlfriend would turn the TV and just see me grinding under a shower to Aerosmith's I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. And I know you guys can't see this now with all the clothes I'm wearing, but if I were to take this shirt off, I would resemble Chewbacca in the first stage of the keynote. I should have won that competition. So you guys been together since what, a year and how long?
10 months.
That's a long time for you guys. You guys play any games to keep the spice going? See, my girlfriend came up with a great idea for a game. She said, you know what you should do? You should come to a bar that I'm at. You should try and pick me up at the bar and use your best moves on me. Some flawed logic here. She's assuming that I have game. Which is not the fact. Most of the game I had involved me having a wingman. I can't exactly call my best friend like, hey Tony, what are you up to tonight? You want to come help me pick my girlfriend up from the bar? No, she hasn't had too much to drink. She just thinks it'd be fun if I came and hit her at the bar. Look, really, all I need you to do is drive me to the bar because it makes more sense for me to ride home with her at the end of the day. I don't want 2 cars in a place. It's just weird. The worst part about this is I don't know how to do this. It's really weird for me. So I'm assuming I have to come up with a character and stick to this character the whole time. Except how long do you stick to the character? That's my problem. Like if things are going well and we go home and the character's working, when do I turn the character on? Do we do the deed and then I shamefully put my clothes back on and pull the wedding ring out of my wallet and drive home spraying down Axe body spray and gargling Listerine in case my hypothetical wife were to find out what I did? My hypothetical kids been through so much this year in order to move in the new school. When do I stop playing this character? So I'm trying to get back in shape. This will be the last joke I'll leave with you guys for today. My New Year's resolution was to lose a lot of weight, and my mom finding this out thought it'd be great to buy me a whole bunch of trendy new workout clothes. Which is all good and well, except I think my mother is colorblind, because what she bought for me was an orange Under Armour long sleeve turtleneck and some green track pants. So if anyone needs a spotter at the gym, just look for me. They call me Fat Aquaman. You guys have been great. Have a good night.
All right, welcome back. We just saw Steve Krieger's clip from The Funny Bone. It was his latest show. It was pretty funny, man.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Yeah. You were talking in there about starting to work out again.
Yeah.
Like, how much of that's true, man?
That's very true. I actually worked with a trainer for the last year. I've dropped about 30 pounds.
Oh, really? Well, you look good, man.
Oh, thanks a lot.
I appreciate it. I actually lost 30 pounds, too. I can't find one of my kids. But no, you've got a very different style than a lot of guys I noticed. Like, where do your influences come from? Like, who were the guys that you looked up to?
Lately, as I got in my, sorry.
You'll cut that. Don't worry.
And then when I turned in my teenage years, I really liked Christopher Titus.
Yeah, Chris Titus was funny. Before his show.
Before his show, yes.
Yeah.
Before his show. I love that stuff. Even his newer albums are really good.
I've not heard anything.
And then lately, I've been doing a lot of Louis C.K. and Christian Finnegan I've pulled a lot from.
Okay.
But yeah, it's whole like, just their style of comedy where they pull like just stories from what they do and just the way to find funny in it. That's just how I write my jokes.
So you like the story comics, the guys that come off with the stories, not really the one-liner guys.
I can't do one-liners. I've tried, and I can't write a full set. Like I'll think, oh, I've got 5 minutes of one-liners. A minute and a half later, I'm done.
Yeah, that's Rob Wilfong is really good with like one-line stuff, real short jokes. He's really good for that. That's with me. Like you were talking about Sandler, like where his albums. Like my favorite bit that he ever did was the one where. It was him and David Spade out in the woods, where he came out with the had the fake beer and all that. And he was like, "Dude, I'm so wasted." You know, that was probably my favorite one.
My favorite is either the goat.
Well, that's great.
The goat, or there's one about joining a cult.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He joins the cult to meet the chick.
Yeah. Adam Sandler is definitely part of the reason I started doing comedy. I'm sorry. I blamed you for that. He'll never see this anyway. But yeah, him, Carlin, Pryor's
fantastic.
Pryor was great. He was one of those guys that just no matter what he said, it was gold. You know what I mean? And especially where you've seen how human he really was when he was talking about blowing himself up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The whole milk and the cookies thing, like that was fantastic. And the thing that he was good with too was like hecklers, but he did it in a way that really wasn't too offensive most of the time. Now I've heard him go off on some people too, but then again a lot of times he was kind of passive with it and turned it into a joke. Have you had to deal with any hecklers yet, really?
I've had one heckler. I was at Tickets, and I do this whole bit about how messed up the Disney princesses are.
Yeah.
And one guy on the front was just like, "I'm not following, man." And he's like, "You got to change this shit." Sorry. And I was like, "What do you mean you don't understand? It's Disney. Like, mental patients get this. Like, if you could sit still for an hour and a half and not poop your pants, you get a Disney movie. Like, what's your problem?"
That's great. So you're getting that part of it all.
Getting it. Yeah.
It's rough, man.
I've been fortunate enough to perform in a lot of places where people are actually there for comedy, and a couple of the bars where they weren't there, no one really said anything.
We had a show one time a few years back. We actually had to talk over top of a hockey game.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, like they had the sound up and everything. And like we're trying to do this show in the corner, and it was a mess. I actually had a woman offered me $20 to shut the fuck up so she could watch the game. And so, you know, she was like, "Will you shut the fuck up for a minute so I can watch this game?" And I'm like, "Okay." Like, give me the $20. She handed me the $20. Shut up for about a minute and then continued on with my set. She wasn't really happy about that. She actually tried to tell the bar owner to have me get the money back. I went and bought her a drink. But but yeah, the hecklers, man, they're part of it. You know what I mean? A lot of times, it's just because they're too drunk and want to be part of the show.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? They want to feel like they're involved. So you were saying like Sandler, Carlin, they were big influences. Who, out of all of them, was your favorite?
Out of all of them, Titus.
Titus
was my
your favorite?
His first album, I loved every second of it.
Yeah. See, I liked Titus. His old stuff I liked a lot. His show after that, it was kind of, didn't like the show, but obviously that wasn't his fault. You know what I mean? Like Carlin had a show that was terrible.
Oh, he had one of the worst shows ever on television.
The absolute worst. It was really bad. And it really
most comedians don't get good TV shows.
No, they don't. You know, that's like a lot of people give Lopez a lot of crap. You know what I mean? But I actually liked his show.
His show was good. About the only Comedy Central show with a comedian that's ever taken off is Tosh.0, and that's he doesn't have to write any material. It's all internet videos.
Yeah, it's all sketch and internet. That's all it is. So there's hardly anything. What comedians out here are you following really hard now, like the local guys?
The local guys? I mean, I'm always around Jay Armstrong. Yeah. He's got some great stuff going. Ali Budoso got me my start, so I try and go wherever she's kind of going. She's the one who introduced me to a lot of the open mics, so I follow her around. Rob Wilfong, Mark Sester and Kim Sherwood have been really good to me. They've been helping me out.
Yeah, Kim's a good guy, real good guy.
I did their podcast a while back, the One Hot Mess, so my episode's on there right now. But yeah, a lot of those guys. There's a couple new kids. I believe one of them's Dan Hatfield. Real new. Really funny. If he keeps with it, he'll go places.
Okay. Well, that's cool, man. Yeah, we're always looking for new talent and stuff, so you can always let them know about this. Check
Okay,
them
yeah,
out.
I'm always free. So.
Okay, cool. So, like, through all this, what has your family thought about this?
My family's been 100% supportive of it.
100%.
I mean, like, my sister was big into Broadway, and I've driven all over to see her shows, and she hasn't been able to see mine because she's out in California.
Yeah.
But that's half the reason I film mine, so she can see them. I put them on Facebook so she can watch them and tell me how much I'm not funny or like what joke she likes, what she doesn't. My brother comes out a lot. My parents have been to just about every one of my shows.
Okay.
Girlfriends come out to every one of them.
Girlfriends or girlfriend?
Girlfriend.
Okay.
A couple exes have come out because they heard I do material about them.
That's always great. Yeah, my ex-wife actually came to one of my shows one time. That was, yeah, she's still my ex. But now, like, have you done any jokes? Like, because I've had a tendency of like bringing family members into jokes. Have you done any of those that may have offended any of them in a way?
No, I run most of them by family first before I tell them on stage. Like, I used to do this joke about how every major breakup in my life could be linked to a Hollywood sequel that shouldn't have been made. Like, my out of high school girlfriend, we saw all 3 Die Hards before the 4th one came out, broke up like a week later. And then I was engaged in college, and we saw all 3 Indiana Jones before Crystal Skull came out. And then we broke up shortly after that, and I said it all traced back to my parents got divorced right after Phantom Menace.
Oh, my God.
I ran it by him, and of course, that joke doesn't land, so now I always change the punchline to that's when Father O'Malley stopped calling.
Oh, God.
that gets him chuckles.
Yeah, there you go. Religion jokes always work.
A lot of the reasons I knew I would try something was because I would tell stories of the stupid stuff my mom would do. My mom's the worst to like be in a movie theater with. She shouts at the screen. She's loud. It's fantastic. Like the best one ever was when Jurassic Park came out way back in the 90s. We were in a sold-out theater on like opening weekend, and it gets to that scene where the raptors are chasing the kid into the kitchen.
Yeah.
And you hear her seat rattling, and then they start clawing at the door, and they get the door open, and she stands up in the middle of this sold-out theater, and she starts screaming, "They can't do that! They can't do that! Dinosaurs can't open doors!"
That's great. Well, yeah, because your mom's an expert with dinosaurs,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. You know, like the best is like I tell that story to everyone. So it's like people come up from college like, "Oh, she's the dinosaur lady."
Yeah.
And about like a year ago, someone put out a scientific study that said like velociraptors are only about the size of chickens. And so like a lot of stuff in the movies is wrong. And she sent this mass email to like me and like all these people like, "See, they can't open doors."
That's a great story, man. That's fantastic. Like, but yeah, like the only good stories I have like of my dad is like him just like constantly telling me I suck. So it's like I don't have any good stories like family-friendly ones like that. Being that your mom actually would go to a movie with you, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, my dad would say like, "We're going to the movie," and what that meant was he was going to drop me off in front of the movie theater and go to the bar. So that's like,
yeah, I got a call from one of my mom's friends after she went and saw a movie with her because she's heard the Jurassic Park story and thought we were just over-exaggerating.
Yeah.
And no, she calls me. They went and saw Vantage Point. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
Yeah.
And there's a spot where like the assassin's only doing this because they have his brother kidnapped. And then like they get off the phone and they shoot the brother. And like he's running through the hotel and he's about to get the president. And my mom like apparently stood up in that theater and shouted, "Don't do it! They killed your brother!"
That's great. It's kind of like Kathy Bates in Misery, where
Very
she's
much
got
so.
her hairs moving, yelling, "That's cock-a-doodie," you know, all that. I just made a Stephen King reference. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. So, where are you going to be in the next coming weeks?
I got a couple sets at the Funny Bone, doing a couple open mics for Go Bananas. Everything else is kind of up in the air right now. I'm trying to talk to people at Tickets and Rob Wilfong. Those are the guys who usually book me the most.
So, like all these shows that you've done, like with Rob, he books a lot of bars.
Yes.
Now, obviously, more comics would rather do, you know, the Go Bananas, the Wileys, Funny Bone, all that, because everybody is coming there for a show.
Yes.
Whereas at a bar show, you know, half the people don't even know what's going on. They just want to get drunk and go home and screw.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's like, you know, they come in. Now, I actually like bar shows better, I guess because I'm a glutton for punishment. I don't know. But it seems like you said earlier on in the interview, you know, that's where you cut your teeth. That's where you find out how good your material is, if you can really get somebody's attention. Now, Do you like bar shows, or is it
Yeah,
just...
I do really like the bar shows. It's a lot more fun. It's challenging because, like, I mean, I know some of my material lands at the comedy clubs, but it's because, you know, they were warmed up by other comics, and you're there to laugh. And then I try the bar shows, and I'm like, wow, I didn't get that much of a response out of this. Maybe if I try a little harder, change my punchlines a bit, then maybe it'll work again. So I love doing the bar shows.
Yeah, see, I love doing the bar shows because I'm so well known in the bar area. Like when I go to you know, a comedy club, it's like I'm just one of the other guys. You know, it's like I end up going up first, whereas when I'm in the bar shows, I'm always headlining.
Yes.
You know, it's one of them things. It's very different. It's like, you know,
at the bar shows, I wind up being the feature most of the time. Most of the guys who book me, they put me right before the headliner, and I like that. Whereas the clubs, I'm usually like second or third.
Yeah, see, that's you know, I've been doing it 6 years, and I end up usually like mid. Like, you know what I mean? Like if there's 6, 7 guys, I'm like fourth. You know, and it's like. Whereas I'm used to headlining down at these shows, and that's because, I mean, the comedy is so much different, the preparation in the show is so much different. It's really like comparing like NFL football to like arena football, you know what I mean? It's just like, not saying that bar shows are any less professional, because they're not. There's actually a lot more planning that goes into that. But it's just, there's a lot more freedom at a bar show, where, you know, if you go to a comedy club, you know, they're kind of like on that one F-bomb. Like, you know, we'll let you say it once without throwing the music on, but once you get to your fourth one, you're not coming back.
It feels more free-flowing at a bar. Like, if something just comes to your head, you can say it. You don't have to filter anything at the clubs.
And the heckling is so much better. Like, because I challenge people to heckle me. You know what I mean? Yeah,
no bouncers come and throw people out of the bars. It's at the Funny Bone you get thrown out for heckling.
Yeah, exactly. We've had, I actually had one time when I was at the Funny Bone, a woman kept heckling, like throughout everybody. Like I was there, Ralph was there. She heckled the entire time. And finally, when they got to the feature, which was like 8 comics later, they finally had to have this lady escorted out. And it was funny because even though she was out of the club, she was still in the mall area. So you could still hear this woman continuing to heckle, you know, and she couldn't even see what was going on. She was just like outside the door yelling.
See, I love the Funny Bone because I used to be a security guard at Newport on the Levee.
That makes sense now.
So they, oh, thanks a lot. No, so like, it's funny because they moved that location from being inside the mall to outside because they were tired of being over at GameWorks and all the noise they were getting. So they move outside and then they put a bowling alley underneath.
Yeah, what's the deal with that, man? Like
whoever buys the space, that's what they do with it.
That's terrible. Like we were saying, man, you're going to be at Funny Bone, Go Bananas, and then just wherever else.
Yeah, just follow me on Facebook. I always post wherever I'm going to be at way out in advance.
Okay, and we'll also have where you're going to be at. You can let us know. We'll post it to our site and everything.
Cool.
That way everybody can come check you out, man.
All right, thanks
a lot, buddy. Thanks for being here. This is Steve Krieger. I'm Joe. We'll see you in a little bit. All right, thanks for sticking with us. I'm back now with Dr. Mika Butler. She actually has a show that's on Monday nights. It's called Blended Family Moments Live. Yes. Nice having you here.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
How you been?
I've been all right. I've been okay. How have you been?
Getting by. Your show deals with blended families. Can you let them know exactly what blended family is?
Yeah. A blended family is basically a family that where one person comes into the relationship or both people come into the relationship with children from a previous relationship. Okay. So that makes a blended family. When you get together either in a long-term relationship or a marriage, then you become a blended family. Now, you could have been married before, both of you could have been married before and then marry someone else or get into a long-term relationship again, but neither party have children. You're not a blended family. You just had a couple of relationships behind you.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So. Yeah,
that's we were talking before we actually started taping. Like, she actually told me that the situation I'm in is one of the most complex, being that I have 3 boys. My girlfriend has a son, and now we have a daughter together.
Exactly. Anytime you have both parties that have children from a previous relationship and then they have mutual children together, that is the most complex situation outside of adopting or adding another member to the family some way, shape, or form. That's the most complex situation that you can be involved in.
Okay, yeah, I mean it gets stressful because then you deal with, there's always some aspect of the ex that always comes up.
And that's mostly what people talk about when they write. That's what a lot of our articles deal with on the Blended Family Moments site. And a lot of questions that we get when we do shows on Monday nights are about dealing with the ex, co-parenting, how to get along, child support issues. She's breaking my back financially.
Yeah.
How can I get these things lowered? Things like that. Blended families they deal with a lot of complex issues, and most of the issues that they deal with, or I should say, the most common reasons why blended families have problems are either one, because of the children, or two, because of the finances. So those are the two major reasons why blended families have difficulties. Most of their arguments are...
My ex-wife also has a daughter. So they have a sister there, and then now I have, my newborn daughter, and then they have a sister here, and they want those two sisters to get together, but because of the issues that arise between me and my ex, that's probably not going to happen.
They may not see each other.
Yeah.
But that's common with blended families. And unfortunately, no blended family
is perfect.
Is the same.
Yeah.
Not perfect. No family is perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether you're biological or not.
Yeah.
Blended families deal with the same issues that biological families deal with. It's just that there's a little more baggage because there's a lot of hurt from the previous relationship. If you think about a blended family, it's built from brokenness. It's built from, I hate to use the term failure, but that's how it's perceived. So it's built from that. And then a lot of members of the blended family, children, they carry a lot of guilt or a lot of hurt, confusion from what happened between their biological parent and the parent that you now love. You know what I mean? And so with children, the first thing to do, especially when you're initially coming into the blended family, is to just kind of, instead of coming in as a authoritative figure, to just kind of come in as more of a friend. Not like, you're my road dog.
Yeah, not that kind of friend.
Not like that. You still have to be the adult.
Yeah.
But a friend as a teacher is kind of like your friend. But you can trust them.
Teacher, counselor, that kind
of. Someone like that. And not necessarily to just kind of come in as an authoritative figure. The other thing is you kind of have to do a lot of communication with children because they have a lot of questions. Are you going to stay around or are you going to leave like my mom did?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The last person that was here said that they love my mom too, but they're gone and this is guy number 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have a lot of questions, and depending on the number of times that the parent that they live with has been in a relationship, it depends on how receptive they will be to you. It also depends on how old they are. Because if they're under 4, they're like, Daddy!
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is my new dad and everything. And they're more accepting. Although they deal with, the insecurity and things like that, they're still a little more receptive externally, okay? But when you get a little older and you can understand what's going on in relationships and you're a teenager or you're grade school age or something like that, then you're more like, you want to make definite lines. You want things to be black and white, Yeah. And a blended family is nothing but a big gray area.
Yeah, that's. When my girlfriend, when I first got with the woman I'm with now, my oldest son was only 6, and he's going to be 10 now. Here in a few months, he'll be 10. So there's been 3 years where he went from, not knowing her, not exactly trusting her, to where he now adores her, and has on occasion slipped up and said, "Mom," things like that. And it's not to hurt anybody else's feelings, but I understand how he can feel that way because when he's with me, that is his mother figure.
What you have to understand is when it comes to children, unless they're being forced to call that person that,
Yeah, that's wrong.
it's coming from a place where they really are trying to find, they respect this person, they care for this person, and they're trying to find where that person fits categorically in their life. And the closest example they have to that is mom or dad. And so because of that, they're using that title. It is something that you're going to have to deal with, either with counseling or with therapy, if it doesn't kind of go away. It's okay to feel like that initially. It is okay. But over time, those feelings should start to subside a bit as you watch that individual interact with your children, or you hear about how they interact with your children, and they're respectful and they're nice to them, and your kids like them. That's all A-plus stuff, you know what I mean? Because there's so many things that could go wrong. But it is awkward, even for the step-parent, sometimes to be called mom or dad or stepmom or stepdad, because they didn't go into it kind of knowing what they wanted to be called, and then, oh my gosh, he's calling me dad, you know. What should I do about that?
It's a shock, and that's like, we were speaking about my stepson. He, you know, isn't verbal, but he does do, you know, the dad, mom, like that, and he knows who you are, you know. You come into the room, he smiles, he knows who you are. And, you know, even the first time hearing him, you know, say, dad, you know, it was like, wow. And then, you know, she was like, oh, well, I guess it's time now, you know. And then I'm like, oh, man, you know, am I ready for this? You know, we've only been together 7, 8 months, you know, and now it's like, and then the thing with us is my boys were so receptive to it. Like, because he's really, you know, he's 8 years old, but he's basically a baby. I mean, he's like about a 9-month-old child, you know. His needs have to be taken care of by someone else. But that was the thing that was so great, was like, my kids loved her so much and him so much that they were willing to help with everything, you know, feeding, changing, things like that. And that's with my daughter, you know, my sons, they're completely in love with her. You know, they don't say half sister or nothing like that. You know, that's sissy. You know, and that's great. I imagine, though, that a lot of times that's not the case.
Unfortunately, it's not the case. Sometimes, as adults, you get into a relationship and you think, oh, this will work out. They have a 12-year-old. I have an 11-year-old. They're around the same age. Let's throw them in a room together, and let's just see what happens. But no, it doesn't. It doesn't always work out like we think. You know what I mean? I mean, if you think of it like this, if your wife or your girlfriend has a best friend, and she and her best friend go out all the time, and her best friend has a husband, but her husband is a dweeb, and he doesn't like the stuff that you like, but you're around the same age, so you guys should hang out together too.
That's actually happened. That's not, I understand exactly what you're talking about. So this is what
happens with the children, where you kind of just like lump them together. But we as adults, we don't always think about that. We just think about how in love we are with the other person. And every stage in forming a blended family, you have to take the time to make sure that the children understand what's going on and answer their questions and work through those feelings and things like that. Now, if you're old school, like I grew up, you know, it was basically, well, because I'm the adult. You're going to do what I tell you to do. I know you have an opinion, but no one wants to hear it.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
So, but those days are over.
Yeah.
You know, if you're an old school thinker, you'll say, unfortunately, those days are over. The fact of the matter is that that method did not work. It caused the children of that generation to just kind of repress their feelings and go into relationships now as adults, and they have mistrust, and they have low self-esteem. They have all of these different disorders because they were unable to articulate at a young age things that were going on, you know, in their mind with anybody. So there's a lot of baggage, you know.
Like when you have that separation, trying to take care of that, not really take care of him more, but show him a little bit more than the rest. Trying to make up for lost time. That's almost a bad idea, isn't it?
Here's the thing. It's coming from a place where you really care about the kid. You know what I mean? It's not a malicious thing like, I'm going to turn this kid into a rotten apple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it happens in a lot of families, not just blended families, just a lot of families. You could have a biological family where one member goes to work, you know, long hours somewhere, you know, and they're hardly ever home. Their work causes them to travel a lot. When they come back, it's candy, it's unicorns, it's all that other stuff, you know, and you can get the same result. You understand? It comes from, as a parent, you feel guilty for not being there, you know, and while it's a good idea, especially if the child is coming in and out of the house, to make sure that the child knows they always have a place with you, you have to have balance. And the thing about parenting is, you don't really know that you've screwed up until you've done it.
Yeah, parenting is 100% trial and error.
It really is trial and error. And even the professionals that are out there, I always like to say this, a doctor always needs a doctor. A fireman always needs a fireman. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
No matter what your initials are behind your name, you're going to need somebody with those same initials.
Yeah.
Because
there's no exact science to it.
There's no exact science to it. But what you're trying to do is raise healthy kids. You know, set rules early, especially with blended families. Set those rules early. How is this household going to work? And let those rules be the same for biological and stepchildren. You know, let them know what your expectations are as far as, you know, how they should treat one another early. For example, when you go to school, teachers can punish the children to a certain extent. Right? The rules are set. Children know what they're walking into. Right? They know if they skip class, then the teacher is going to do X, Y, and Z. They know that ahead of time. Right? Okay. The rules are set. Now, and the other thing is, a lot of people in blended families, or a lot of blended families, do not utilize the help that there is out there. There's a lot of help for blended families, more now than 10 years ago.
Yeah. Okay?
So utilize that help. There's some free help out there. There are free websites out there. The National Step Parent Resource Center at stepfamilies.info has a parenting toolkit where you're basically taking classes on being a step parent, and they're all topical. How to deal with, you know, a disrespectful child, how to deal with communication issues. All of these classes, and they do them interactively. They show a little clip, like a 30-second video clip of a scenario. And they're like, what would you do in this situation? And then you type in your answer, and they're like, you're totally wrong. And then they say, this is what you should do in this situation. So these things are free. Like if you're embarrassed to go to group therapy or a support group or something like that, you can take those classes online. You can even get a certificate for completing. I don't know, you know, how helpful it will be in a job interview. Yeah. But you can get a certificate for that, and they have like 150 classes. Children never get a choice in whether or not they want to be a step child. Yeah. The step parent gets the choice to be a step parent, but the child never gets the choice. Yeah. Nobody says, "Hey,
they don't
kid,
sit down
do you want
with
to
the
do
kid."
step?" No, they're just like, man, the mom's hot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we get along. Let's make this thing happen.
Yeah.
You know. And the child has to kind of go along with it, okay? And then the other thing is, when you're talking about their allegiance to their deceased parent and things like that, if they're using the term, you know, this is what my real parent did, if you're not my real parent, it's almost like I'm going to poke at you and get you as upset as I'm upset about this situation. I'm hurt too, and I want you to hurt too. You know what I mean? And you can't take it personally because, I mean, frankly, you're not their real parent. So why are you so upset? You know what I mean? And I say this as a professional, as a step parent. and growing up in a step family, okay? So it's not anything upsetting to hear the truth. No, I'm not your real parent. I care about you. I am your step whatever, which means that, you know, I do have some rights as far as care for you, but you're right, I'm not your real parent.
Yeah.
You know.
And that should be okay.
And
you
it's
should be able to take that.
And it's okay. It's all right. You know what I mean? But I still care for you, and I expect you to respect me the way that I respect you.
Okay.
You know.
Now, I know there's situations that arise where obviously not all relationships stay together,
Right.
or there would be no blended families.
That's so true.
And even once, you know, you think you found the great person, you know, you think you got the Brady Bunch going, but you get together with somebody, you think it's forever, you get the kids together, they start loving each other, brother and sister, 5 years down the road,
You break up.
things break up, then you have these kids that now have this bond. And not only that, they have, you know, like I've seen where the stepson ends up siding,
That's right.
you know,
'Cause this is my brother.
yeah, they will take
Yep.
and they even take the other parent's side sometimes. That's really got to screw some kids up. And I know situations where it's not only happened once, but
Multiple
2
times,
and 3
yeah.
times, you know, where you're with a family for 3, 5, 7 years, whatever, and then, you know, by the time the kid's 18 years old, he's got 12 people he calls brother and sister, and only 2 of them are biologically brother and sister.
It happens a lot. And the thing is, when you have children and you're getting involved in relationships, I like to categorize it like this. You've got to be able to distinguish between the one-night stands, the good lays, and the long-term relationship.
Yeah.
Okay? And sometimes, honestly, you know, you're a single parent or whatever, and you're looking to find love and all of these things. Sometimes what you think you need is just a good lay.
Yeah.
And you get a really good lay,
And you think it's something else.
and you're like, oh my gosh. Well, it's been a long time, man. So it's always going to be, oh my gosh. But then you group the kids together so quickly that there was no depth to the relationship. And you have to be very careful for that. You have to be able to keep all your good times, your one-night stands, and your good lays away from the children.
Yeah.
And then make a real decision on who is really step-parent material, because that's what you're really looking at. You're looking at a mate for yourself and a step-parent.
There has to be compatibility
Somebody
on both
who's going
levels.
to be a step-parent to your children, yeah. So you have to be compatible, you have to have that long-term relationship thing, and you've got to realize that now that you have a blended family, it's going to be very, very tough. Your money's going to be tight, somebody's going to be paying child support or going to jail for it, or something like that. There's always going to be some kind of money issue or whatever. There's always going to be the feeling that somebody is paying out more money. A step-parent may feel like, you know, they're putting out more money in the pot than the biological parent is, and that's not right, and this, that, and the other. There are always going to be these issues. It's not necessarily a reason to break up the relationship. You know what I mean? Especially when the children are getting along with each other. Just like marriages, with biological families that go through these really rough patches, step families are going to do the same thing. And this is why the counseling, the therapy, the classes, you know, online and things like that are so important, because they can help you get through those rough patches so that you don't have these serial step families. You know what I mean? That break up and come apart and break up and come apart, and then you've got all these children here that, you know, aren't really related and they're lost. But not only that, but it affects the way that when it's time for them to have a relationship, it affects the trust that they're having for the person that they're going to be with.
It's almost like that butterfly effect. You know, just one little thing, you never know how it's going to affect somebody for their entire life.
For their entire life.
You know, one quick moment. You know, to you it's not a big deal, but to your kids, it's everything.
It is. It is. So you have to be very, very careful with the serial step parenting thing, and you have to really make sure that you gave it a go. Even if you never get married to the person and you guys have been living together for 5, 6 years, you need to make sure you really, really gave that relationship a go when there are children. You can't just walk away like you would if there are no children at all.
Yeah.
If you're a person that's coming into the relationship and you never had any children of your own, and you're just a step parent, but the person that you got involved with has children, you need to think about that before you get involved with the relationship. Because you're not just dating this guy, you're also going to have interaction with this guy's children. You know what I mean? They may or may not like you, things like that. These kind of things need to be worked out ahead of time, and in counseling, group therapy, support groups, not even therapy. I know people don't like the word therapy, but even joining a support group, because if you can hear that there are other people that are dealing with your same issues, then it's like,
a little bit off your mind.
Yeah, well, I'm not that terrible. You know what I mean? And you can make it.
See, I was one of those people that never believed in like counseling or therapy until I found out they gave the best drugs. But you know, then I'm all about it, but no, I mean, it really does work for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sometimes, like you said, just knowing that you're not the only one, that's a huge part of it.
It helps. And here are the statistics, okay? It takes 5 to 7 years for a step family to operate like a biological family.
Okay.
To build those bonds like a biological family has. It takes 5 to 7 years. Now, here's what happens. You might be there at the 5-year mark or the 4.5-year mark, right? Something happens at 6 years, and then you break it off. Or right before you get there, the deal breaker happens, and you walk away. And so people don't get to the 7-year mark. Relationships don't. They rarely make it to the 7-year mark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The divorce rate for second marriages is like 65%.
Wow. So that's actually higher than having a first divorce.
The first marriages are they're between 50 and 55% of first marriages end in divorce. Second marriages is 65%. 75% of those second marriages involve children. Okay? And as you go up higher and
higher and higher.
Yeah.
So it's usually people that are married 6, 7 times just actually suck at it. It's not like you shouldn't be married. There's a reason.
But when I talk about marriages, I also talk about those very, very long-term live-in relationships. Because if you're cohabitating like you're married, then for the sake of step families and for the sake of a definition of a blended family, you are a blended family. Okay? So you don't necessarily have to have the marriage license to be considered a blended family. Yeah. You do for the rights, some of the rights that a parent has, you have to have a license for that. But to be considered a blended family, you're living together, you're cohabitating together, and you've got children in that relationship. You are a blended family. Now, you're not going to walk out at 3 years or 4 years because the crap has hit the fan. You know what I mean? It takes 5 to 7 years for it to even resemble a biological family. Now,
there was another situation that I wanted to bring up. Now, when you have a man and a woman, they get together, they have a couple kids, marriage breaks up, mom leaves, or dad leaves, goes, has another family. Sometimes mom and dad think, maybe we should have stayed together, and then they come back. And now you have brother and sister, or actually brother and sister that you may not really know that's brought in. Wouldn't that almost be worse in a way than the other situations? I mean, how much do you run into that? Where mom and dad split up, then 5 years down the road they decide they want to be married again, and
it happens rarely. It doesn't happen very often because when people, especially in divorces and how much money it costs and all that, by the time it's all over, you're like,
you just hate that person. Yeah.
But when you are, it happens more with relationships where they were just cohabitating and it was like a year, 2 years together, and it didn't work out, and then they go off over here and have children, and then come back. That happens more. However, the children are so young, it's difficult to see how the children are affected because they're so young usually in those situations. More so, the adults are affected. And I can't say that it's actually worse because it's all extremely difficult.
Yeah.
It's extremely difficult because when you go off and you have a family here, whoever you've left out here with these children to go back to who you left, they're going to come after you with a vengeance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're always going to be in your house. They're always going to be, they may be trying to get you back. And so that's tension on this relationship here. And this relationship that you've gone back to is likely going to fall apart because you've got this outside entity that you've kind of messed around with or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's, blended families, no matter how they're made, they're extremely difficult. There's no necessarily easy blended family, not one.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be that wild card member that doesn't get along with the program.
Yeah.
You know, even if everybody's down with the whole entire program, everybody's open communication, and it seems to be working, and people are, you know, going to therapy or having counseling or just reading books on blended families to try to do better. You know, there's always that one wild card that's just like, you didn't expect it. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm mad. I'm upset. I'm, you know, bitter. I'm this, that, and the other. And that wild card may be inside your house.
Okay.
You know, so it's just part of being in a blended family.
Okay. Well, I think we've shared with people. Now, if you didn't know what a blended family was, you obviously do. Now,
and it's not all terrible.
No,
not all terrible all the time.
Like I said, I love the situation I'm in. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Exactly.
Now, your show is Blended Family Moments Live.
Yes.
They can reach that by either through Blogspot or Facebook?
Or Facebook, that's right.
Okay. And it's Monday nights at
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
p.m. 7 p.m. to 8 p.m.
So please make sure you tune in and check her out. Awesome.
You can follow me on Twitter at Dr. Mika Butler.
There you go. Twitter, Dr. Mika Butler. It was great meeting you. When I knew it was a doctor coming in, I definitely did not think we'd be sitting here talking about pricks and Great Lays and, you know, all that. So I was pleasantly surprised. It was really great meeting you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Me.
All right. Hey, if you didn't know, me and Ralph got a show. That's right. Somebody let us play with a camera and a studio.
I'll use that too.
I'll do it again. Like, we'll do it again.
I wasn't expecting that.
Try to keep a straight face. That was
well,
good.
I would have kept a straight face if I knew what you were fucking.
But that was good, all right?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching. My name's Joe Lunsford. I had a great time with you this week. Make sure you tune in next week and see what we're going to get into.
And if you didn't know Joe's name by now, he just said it again.
I noticed where I messed up, but I tried to save it.
I had to do that.
Yeah, I tried to save it. Okay. All right, thanks for tuning in again. We had a great time this week making the show. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you tune in this week and every week to see what kind of nonsense we're going to get into.
And if you want any information about any of the guests on our show, make sure you visit our website at www.ren-productions.com or search us on Facebook, Ren Pro.
Thanks for tuning in again.
And until next time, take care.